Alright.
Stick.
Butterstick it is. Alright, bear with me everybody, I'm gonna go get some potions. In the meantime, Evan, do us the honors and start the review process.
Okay, let's pull out my big sheet of notes. Hyrule Castle's design overall is quite solid, and more importantly, it introduces the core mechanics of the hack very early. It familiarizes the player with the style of key placement that he's going to be using. There's nothing really to write home about in the sewers, but switching to the levers to open the sanctuary was a nice touch. There's no good reasons the shield store is closed off until post-Misery Mire, but whatever. Moving on to East Palace, which is pretty well designed. There's not a lot to say about it. It's a first dungeon. Hookshot's really powerful at that point in the game, but the game is very nicely balanced around it. You use your hookshot a lot. The shortcut chest to Moldorm is very considerate. I appreciate that. The drops are generally good. When where they need to be, like magic before where you need magic. Health after long sections, and so on. Sorry about that.
Huh?
Oh. Tower of Hera was decent, but probably a little bit weaker than East Palace. Apparently you don't have to fight Moldorm twice, he says, but I'm not seeing how that works. But whatever. Tower establishes the trend of using the hookshot to get to specific parts of a pit, which is something that comes into play big time in later dungeons. Desert Palace is probably the weakest of the 3 Light World dungeons, with numerous Igors bordering on being tedious to kill, but it's still really good. The Landmola boss room is really odd, but I can accept it as an engine limitation. Light World has way too damn many Landmolas. There's like 6 in Desert Palace alone. I get that you don't have a lot to work with when it comes to mini-bosses, but this is a symptom of why I feel the mini-boss thing as a whole doesn't work. The quality of the Landmolas, or the quantity of the Landmolas, and later Vitreous highlights this problem. Lots of secrets and puzzles in the hack require intimate knowledge of Links of the Past 2x2 room structure setup. I'm not sure if this is a good or a bad thing, but this definitely isn't a hack unfamiliar with the game's inner workings. The eye laser room in Sahasrara's house requires decent knowledge of how the 2 cooldown timers on the beams work to get by without taking ridiculous damage. Very unforgiving at that point in the game. I would suggest changing that room up a little bit. The first boss gauntlet seemed a bit redundant with the pyramid just existing in the same game. In addition to the fact that if you die, you have to do Sahasrara's boss gauntlet again, which, no. The enemies of Sahasrara's house seem disproportionately powerful for that point in the game, but I can see that you clearly took areas from like Misery Mire in Sahasrara's house and used the enemies. I would suggest swapping some around. Not a fan of the Helmasaur room edits, any of them actually. The Light World is really good overall aside from Sahasrara's house. Sahasrara's house being the one dungeon in the Light World that I really did not like. Dark Palace, really, really well done. Moldorm and one of the Moldorms in the kill rooms tends to get stuck. I'd suggest widening the tiles one so he doesn't get stuck in the wall. Other than that, there's not a lot to say. Dark Palace just generally came, did what it meant to do, and left. Thieves Town was mostly good. A bit confusing, but it's definitely a lot better than Sahasrara's house. The blind room edit in particular stands out as one of the better boss room edits of the hack. It's not too over the top, but still changes the dynamic of the fight. The shooter and heavy block rooms and Misery Mires need to die. Like, seriously, no, stop. Don't drop the player on spikes in the same area as you need to fall down pits to progress. We talked more about this in depth there, but God.
I forgot about this.
Arrows. The arrows that show you what you need to do in the dark rooms are a very nice touch overall. Good job on that. There is a path in Misery Mire that you need to do twice, one with and once without the fire rod. Maybe the first key could be removed so you only have to do this once. Just a thought. Skull Woods! Skull Woods. My notes I actually have rewritten down here, so... way too many keys. Way too many keys. You can get stuck if you enter the dungeon without the hammer and fall down the pit near the Vitreous entrance. I would suggest doing some overworld editing to fix that with the hammer check. The Vitreous fight just needs to go. That is the single worst room of the hack, I think. Like, through all the ice floors, the room in Ganon's Tower, the Vitreous fight is the single worst room of the game. It's gotta go. Shooting the random wall decoration to open the wall, no. Use a different graphic for it, like an eye or one of the... just something different. Maybe miscolor it? I don't know. Better player hinting. Maybe an arrow on the floor that points to it. I don't know. You could even do something like that. If you somehow beat Vitreous without having opened the wall, you have to do it again.
Well,
just a moment of silence for everyone who has had to do that twice. Turtle Rock. Hold on 1 second. I'm ready to see messages.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just like pausing because you couldn't take it anymore. Yeah, some of the sprites are a little glitched. It's okay though. Look at them, they're cutting down the forest!
Turtle Rock. Okay, now I'm legitimately pausing. I don't know where to begin here. Simply put, I don't like this dungeon. It has way too many keys. The design itself is mechanically okay, but you get into situations where you can get stuck because the pipes are kind of broken. Soft lock is just, no, stop, fix that, fix it, fix it, fix it. Some of the rooms have way too many fire bars or chomps. Retract the southern spikes in the boss room by 1 tile, I'd suggest, too. Also, blue pokies.
Blue pokies are great, though.
Blue pokies are wonderful. I don't know why they're blue, but they're blue.
And the comment I'll reiterate on for the key count thing, I had 2 instances playing that dungeon when I had 6 keys in my inventory. This is too much.
Swamp Palace.
Amazing dungeon.
Really good. Yeah, my notes say lots of good things here. Keys are on random enemies in a lot of cases. There are keys on lots of enemies that shouldn't have keys. Also, 2 keys on the same path, meaning you can cut down on the door. Unless I'm missing something. I'd suggest moving some of the more random out there keys to pots, or just removing them. Gimmick is really well executed, but not overdone. There's not a lot to say about Swamp Palace, but there isn't much to complain about either. It's just a really well put together dungeon.
Completely correct, yes. Definitely one of my favorites in the Dark World, if not my favorite.
Ice Palace.
Tell us about that Ice Palace there, Evan. I think I've told you plenty about the Ice Palace.
I really want to like this place. I really do. But it has some major issues that do need to be addressed. It has a really neat premise behind it and effectively uses its gimmick for the most part.
Agreed.
Way too many Freezors. The Freezor jump surprise is effective in the original Link to the Past because of how many inert ones there are. And so that when one finally does spring to life, it's shocking to you. But this one, you just expect everything on the wall to be a Freezor. So it's not really there. Also, they, like, hump you and murder you in a few rooms, which is just, no, that's kind of bullshit. 1 tile wide ice paths. There's a lot of expletives in these notes. I'm probably going to trim them down for the final thing if I distribute this as a pay spin for team.
Okay.
The 1 tile wide ice paths are no. Make them a double wide. The shooters also are very unnecessary, but if you make them a double wide, you can probably keep them. I'd say... Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just agreeing.
The chocolate basement. What?
Yeah, I'm not sure what would have happened there. Maybe he ran out of pallets or something? I don't know if that's even possible.
Yes.
My chat is getting vocal about these 1 tile ice paths.
The dungeon is actually pretty good about keys. There's not too many of them. There were only like 6 or 7, if I remember right.
7 or 8, yeah.
7 or 8?
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God, put some magic before Trinex if you don't outright remove him. Preferably remove him. I don't think mini-bosses have a place in the game. But if you really want them, then please put magic before him.
Okay, Hyrule Magic scrolled by. I just wasn't paying attention.
Good item hard checks at the start of the Dungeon of Ice Palace, which is good.
Holy fled, yeah.
Like Skull Woods, you have the bare bones of a really good dungeon here. It just needs some touching up to make this work. I think that the biggest fix that'll make the dungeon a lot more palatable, pun intended with the basement, is doubling the tile width on the ice paths. Ganon's Tower, really, really good dungeon. However, it has 1 god-awful room with the spikes below the layer.
Shut up, timer.
Throwing Samaria over the Ganon statue is really creative, if not slightly unintuitive, but it's cool enough that I can give it a pass.
Yeah, it's like, it couldn't really be anything else based on where it was. It was still confusing, but certainly not out of the realm of, like, the common player not being able to figure this out.
Mm-hmm. The enemy gauntlet that you can fall back into should be a one-time thing if you fall on floor 7 into floor 6. I suggest making each room that you want the player to kill all the enemies with locked and have the enemies spawn a chest or the key or something when you finish clearing the room, or just leave the doors open. The irony of me actually advocating for more keys in the dungeon after bitching about the too many keys in the past of the game is not lost on me. So you don't need to bother pointing that out. Then the other problem I had with Ganon's Tower, the Wall Masters on floor 7. No. No. The boss gauntlet, there's not really much to say about it because it's a boss gauntlet. The boss is all over again. It exists.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to do it twice for 100%. That's just stupid. The gold sword is really goofy in how it's given out. That said, though, this is a really solid hack, and it has the potential to be like the definitive Link to the Past hack, I think. If you work on the overworld, make it like a unique your overworld of your own, leave and fix up some of the dungeons, I think you really have something good here.
Yeah, I am not going to be on hard. I'm not going to be as hard on it as I'm sure some people are expecting me to be on it. It was really solid. I enjoyed the Light World. The Light World easily gets a 9 out of 10 for me. It was fantastic. The Dark World, I have mixed feelings after playing some of these dungeons twice, especially since the whole goal of playing it through a second time, which you guys aren't seeing the first playthrough ever, the whole goal was to get a new perspective on it and basically give Skullwoods and Ice Palace a second chance. And I didn't flip-flop at all. I still don't care for these places. And my perception of Turtle Rock actually might have become worse having seen it done the proper way. So I don't know, but I really want to see Tim continue his work on A Link to the Past ROM hacking. I can't stress this enough, because I'm gonna bring this up again. Every time someone goes on some tirade, you know, we say negative things about your game or whatever, and you flip out, that's on you, that's not on us. If you're not ready for criticism, you're not ready for game design. And I think Intim is ready for game design. I really hope he is. I want to see more from him. He works at, I see him on the Zelda Classic forums as well, Peers EC, so I know he's doing stuff. And he seems willing to take some criticism here. So, I agree with Evan. I really think this could be one of the best A Link to the Past ROM hacks out there. There's not a whole lot sitting out there for Link to the Past ROM hacking. We're still sitting on parallel worlds after all these years. I don't know how good this Secrets of the Past is or whatever, but to me, it's like we're still sitting on parallel worlds being the poster child here. I'd like to see the next generation. Not to spite Euclid and Seth, I just mean, you know, things have to change every once in a while.
Competition's healthy and all that.
Yeah, competition's healthy. Euclid's working on Parallel Worlds 2.0, supposedly. I don't know how accurate that information is or if he's still going on it, but heck, the more power to him. I'd love to see that, and I'd love to see a 1.0 version of this thing once it's all fixed up and everything. And I'll probably even give it another playthrough. I'm going nuts here. We're doing playthroughs all over the place. It's because we love Legend of Zelda. We want to see this community grow. So yeah. I hope to see this ROM hack community grow, and I hope to see it growing as Intim hones his skills, because he's got the mind to do this. He really does. I don't endorse too many people this way, so I hope this doesn't backfire on me. But Intim really has the mindset to design great ROM hacks.
I agree. I agree completely.
Any other final thoughts you have for us, Evan?
Final score, I want to give this between a 7.5 and an 8.
Alright, I was thinking 8 to 8.5, so we're about the same.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, saw her. Whoa. Okay. Alright, well, thanks to everybody for joining us. That was our first game of the 24-hour stream, and hopefully this playthrough... I know this playthrough will turn out a lot better than that crappy first one I'm not uploading, so there you go. And we hope to see you for more Legend of Zelda Link to the Past ROM hacking. We hope to see you for more Legend of Zelda in general. And we'll see you for more Teamudf gaming, everybody. Thanks for watching, everyone. Boy! Oh, and thanks to Evan for joining us as well.
Yay!
And taking such diligent notes when Teamudf is too distracted to freaking remember what's going on, because that's about the gist of how this is working. Thanks for watching, everyone. Boy!